Alright, so what is a variable? In Java, you're going to be using variables to store data, and variables are containers that store different types of data. In a bit, we're going to talk about four primitive data types. In this one's example, real quick, is the integer I, which is equal to this case 3. And this equal sign does not mean equality. In programming, it means set as. So right now we're saying int I set as 3. So now if you look here on this right, this is like basic representation of our memory. Int I now has the value of 3. But now if we were to type in afterwards I equals 4, the int I now has a value of 4. Even though 3 does not equal 4, I still equals 4. In this case, because it goes in order, this means set as. Also, the first time you declare a variable, you have to define its type. You see here, type int I equals 3, and then next to that, you don't have to type an int. Just type in the name of the variable. And this is called declaring, whenever you type in the word int or char. We're going to get into next the different variable types. But it's important to know what a variable is, especially if it's your first programming language. And the type of variables we'll be messing with now are contained in the primitive data types. And we'll get into this in a second. There are four primitive data types. Well, there's actually more, but the four main ones at least are ints, doubles, booleans, and chars. And these are the ways you declare them. You declare variables by first saying or typing in the type. So in this case, int. Then you name it. So in this case, num for number. You name whatever you want, really. There are some conventions though. For example, it cannot start with a number. It typically you start with a lowercase number. And as you see here for the boolean, if it's multiple words, this is known as camel case. First letter in each word is capital except for the first. Also, the name of your variable cannot be boolean, char, double, and any keyword. It has to be something different. To declare int, you say int num equals whatever number you want. Or you can leave undeclared by putting semicolon right after it says num. For double, it's double num equals whatever number you want. Boolean is even, equals true or false. Char, and then you put your letter in these single quotes. So ints. Ints are integers. There are whole numbers, and the max value is this right here, and minimum value is this. And they truncate. What that means is if you do some math operation and your answer becomes 9.9, but you're storing it as an int, the number just stays as 9. Double. The max value of a double is this weird equation that I cannot explain why it is that. The min, let's just say min, my bad. Minimum value is this decimal, or not decimal, exponent. And these are floating point numbers with decimals, and they can store up to 15 decimal points. Booleans are true or false. That's all they are. Simple, on or off. Char represents one character and they're put around single quotes. These are the different math operators: plus, minus, divide, multiply, and modulus. Some quick ways to apply them is plus plus, minus equals, times equals, divide equals, mod equals. So x plus 2 is the same as x equals x plus 2. X plus plus is x plus equals 1 is x equals x plus 1. So these are all different ways to iterate or just increase a number by another number. We're quickly on modulus because I believe you guys have some basic understanding of addition, hopefully. Modulus is a remainder. So 6 divided by 2 gives you a remainder of 0 because it is an even number, and all even numbers divided by 2 is a whole number is 0. 6 divided by 2 has a remainder of 0. Even numbers divided by modulus 2 is always 0. Odd numbers are always 1 when modulus by 2. clocks. So that's how clocks work in programming. Typically, when you make a clock program, is that the minutes divided by x is hours. It's going to be hours point some number. Who cares about the other numbers? Because it truncates, because usually minutes you will store as an integer. So it's going to truncate. And then you mod by 60, and the remainder is the remaining minutes. Casting is a way to convert a type. So you put the type, you convert it to in parentheses. And I spelled parentheses terribly wrong. I do not know why I couldn't catch that. Yeah, supposed to catch that. So system out there print line 25/5, which is a code sequence. This will print out 4. Now if I cast it as a double, because right now it's taking this as an integer, and 4.8 as an integer is just 4, it does not round up, it always rounds down. Cast as a double first in the front, it will print out as 4.8. So that's the PowerPoint that I made for 5 minutes. So let's see what this looks like. Let me open up IntelliJ, and I made a quick program real quick. Let's see, here it is. Let me close these guys. Let me scroll in. If you scroll, it's Control Scroll. If you don't have that enabled, you enable it in Edit, File, Settings, Editor, General, change font with Control Mouse wheel. This is on default off, which I think is the dumbest thing ever because it's the most useful thing. So, let's see how this works. Don't type this; it won't work because the way I did it, it's meant to be an example, not so much a tutorial. So, if you know what I'm doing, go ahead and do it. If you don't understand, don't worry about it. This is just to prove a point. So let's say int minutes equals 130. Hours equals minutes divided by 60. Well, what's 130 divided by 60? It's 2 point something, right? So hours is going to be 2 because it truncates. And minutes is mod equals 60, which is the same as minutes right here equals minutes mod 60. That's what this operator does. Now we print it out. So let's see what we get. We get hours 2, minutes 10. That's correct, because if you subtract 120, you get 10 minutes remaining. So yes, we know this works. And we'll actually be going back to this eventually when we go to user input 2. Now let's talk about real quickly what this is. This is known as concatenation. I believe I pronounced that right. It's when you add strings to strings, and what's happening is that these numbers are being converted to strings real quick. So this /n, this means new line. So without this, it will print on the same line. So /n is a kind of like a secret code-ish kind of way of the printer to say, don't actually type that, it's a line break. Now if you actually for some reason want to type in /n, it's /n. In doing so, puts down /n. If you for some reason need to actually do /n. So /n. So let's do some more math stuff. Go here. Rid of that. What was it? Double or int. I use a basic way of saying is a very common name for integers. You can name whatever you want. Like I said, you can't start with a letter. See, I get an error. You also can't name it a different type. So give it some good name. Int num. This will actually follow along with me. It helps the one to code and follow along. So int num equals int. Actually, that's fine. System.out.println no divided by 2. What do you guys think it's going to print out? I know it's going to print out. It's going to print out 1 because 3 divided by 2 is 1.5 and it truncates, which just gets rid of the decimal, rounds down, and gives you 1. Oh, wrong button. start. 1, right? But now what if we cast it as a double? So put in parentheses, new parentheses, and then put the word double in it. It's going to cast as a double. So it's casting. Now, you can also print out, what's it called? Booleans. Put a boolean there called true. Prints out true. Or if we make a boolean called bool, why not? And name it or equal it to false. I put in here true. Not true. Bool. It's going to be false. Print out false. Now, let's talk real quickly the difference between char and string. So, what we put in here, if we type in hello world, is a string because it has 2 quotation marks. Chars have 1 quotation mark and they contain 1 letter. If I were put it like this, I get a compile error. Right? This is what it's going to tell me. And compatible type string cannot be converted to char because it's trying to convert. It thinks that I'm making C as a string, not as a char. That's why you put a single quote so it's a character. You can't put multiple characters, right? I'm gonna get this error. Too many characters in character literal. So C. Never print out. It will print out the letter C. Strings I'll go over in the next video. Actually, yeah, the next video I'll go over strings. That's it for this video. It's very important that you understand what ints are, what booleans are. Booleans are true or false values, which we will get into when we talk about if-else statements, which is a lot of the thinking is for a computer. Is if statements. Talk about modulus, that's very useful. So in the next video we will talk about class value types, like rectangle and string. See you then.